My name's Tina McDermott. I call myself the lazy inspirational chef. I'm a speaker, I'm a weight loss coach. Been doing this for 21 years. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. This is my love. This is my passion. And I'll tell you, there's no place I'd rather be than right here, right now, in my kitchen, teaching you how you can find joy in the kitchen, even if you don't know how to cook, even if you don't like to cook, so you can live a life that's healthy, vibrant, and free. All right, you ready to get started? Get started. Put get started in that chat box. Put get started in that chat box. We're going to start with our apple pie cups because there's a rhythm to the ovens, and I want things to be done. So hopefully they'll all get done. So we're going to get started. I melted the butter. It's in here already. I put a cup of almond flour. Who here has cooked with almond flour before? Go ahead and type almond flour in the chat if you have cooked with almond flour before. Next, I'm going to put a little bit of sugar substitute. Do not use artificial sugars. I love monk fruit, specifically confectioner sugar monk fruit, because it does not elevate your glucose levels. I did a lecture today on disease, how to prevent disease, and the main piece of this talk was lower your glucose levels so that you lower your insulin levels, because it's insulin that causes insults to your body and causes the scarring in your arteries, causes high plaque and high blood pressure and strokes and heart attacks and all that other fun stuff. So keep your blood sugar low. Keep your blood sugar low. The next thing we're going to do is a little pinch of salt. All good Italians have a little bit of salt. Get your fingers right in there. Get your fingers right in there. This is sea salt, full of minerals. Wonderful for you. Just a pinch of that. Got the sugar, got that. That's it. That's it. That's the topping. There we go. I'm just going to mix it all up. And it's not the topping. Look, if you want to crumble, you put this on the top. If you want a pie, you put this on the bottom. You crumble on the top, pie on the bottom. What are we going to do? We're going to do pie, or are we going to do crumble in our little cups? What do you want? Put it in the chat. Crumble or pie? What do we want? Crumble or pie? Put it in the chat. Crumble or pie? I think we're going to do pie. You know why? Because then this way it won't burn. Also, you can also put some nuts in here. Oh, what about some chopped up almonds or chopped up walnuts? Better yet, walnuts. Oh, I would love to have some walnuts. So there is our crust of sorts. And we're going to put that in the little cups in just a few moments. But let's get the apples all done. I cut up a whole bunch of apples and I squeezed a lemon in here. Lemon is going to prevent the apples from going going brown, I meant to say. And let me cut up one more apple for you. I'm one of those people that, yes, I hold the knife towards me, and this is how I cut up apples. This is the way I was taught since I was a little girl, literally. And I come from an Italian family, literally off the boat Italian. And my dad, mom, they've always peeled their apples just like this. And at the end of the meal, we always have fruit. We always have fruit at the end of the meal. So my dad, my uncle, wherever I go in Italy or even here in America, they're always peeling the fruit and handing me a piece. Okay, and I'm just going to cut it up. And you don't have to get fancy. Your apples don't all have to be the same pieces. If you get an apple seed in there, it's okay. If they're organic apples, go ahead and use the peel. If they're not organic, they're probably coated in a little bit of wax that you don't want in your apple pie cups. Okay, so be careful as you get that out. And yep, have a little apple butt there. And look what I'm going to do. I'm going to score the apple. I'm going to score it. Don't cut it all the way through. And another apple pie butt or an apple butt. And there we go. I'm just going to cut it like so to make it super. Oh, you know what I forgot to ask? I forgot to ask, who is cooking along with me? Who is cooking along with me? Who's cooking along with me? Go ahead and type in, put a 1 if you're cooking along with me, put a 0 if you are watching. Put a 1 if you're cooking along with me, put a 0 if you're watching. I want to know. Zeros, it's all good. It's all good. Either way, if you're cooking along with me, I need to slow down. If you're cooking along with me, I need to slow down. If you're not cooking along with me, then I can just keep going. I can go fast as I want, right? Okay, y'all with me so far? Good. You're all with me. It looks like you all are anyway. Now let's do the filling. The filling, I have my apples. We're going to do another little pinch of salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to do cinnamon. We're going to do like an apple pie seasoning. Okay, can't get the words out of my mouth. Apple pie seasoning is cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Okay, you can even do pumpkin pie mix in your apple pie, or you can get all of the spices and make your own apple pie spice mix. That's the word, spice mix. We're going to do a little bit of nutmeg, about a 1/4 teaspoon, a 1/2 teaspoon of a little nutmeg. Oh, remember, I call myself the lazy inspirational chef. I don't always measure. I kind of know by eye, as my mom would say, al occhio, what a 1/4 teaspoon is. If you want to be exact, go ahead and get your measuring spoons out. That's a little bit of cinnamon. And we're going to do a little bit of allspice. Just a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. There we go. Got our allspice in there. And cardamom would be one of the spices in this, but I only have whole cardamom. I don't have the cardamom and the spice. Did you know that that's what cardamom looks like? That's cardamom. Okay, let's get this going so that we can get this in the oven and get the rest of our dinner going. We've got that. We need a teaspoon of some vanilla. And you know, I got some really nice bourbon vanilla extract. Is this bourbon? Yeah, Madagascar bourbon. Don't chintz on your vanilla. It is so good. So good. I already did the lemon juice. I got all of that. We're going to do a little bit more of some monk fruit, just a little bit more of monk fruit. Not a ton. Remember, apples are sweet. And don't worry about what kind of apples you're going to use. I'll use whatever apples I have in the fridge that haven't been eaten. I'll use those. We've got that. We got our sweetener, and we're going to do a little bit of arrowroot. The arrowroot is just going to hold everything together. Okay. Arrowroot is kind of like cornstarch, but cornstarch, could be genetically modified, and I don't want to go down that route. So I'm going to use some arrowroot. You can also use tapioca starch. Okay.
Hey, Tina, do you know by chance who's going to be sharing the recipes with them?
I'm trying to remember her name. Starts with a J. Someone in HR will share the recipes with you. If you don't already have the recipes, I have shared them. And
you're right on the website. Sorry, this is Beth popping in. I just typed it in the chat too. So if you go to the virtual fair website and down to today's sections and scroll to this one, there's 3 separate PDFs that have the recipes on there.
Thank you. Okay. So now here we go. We're going to make our cups. I already have the oven on, by the way. The oven is on at, 400 degrees? Yeah, it's at 400 degrees, and we're going to do about 20 minutes. Now, this is when we're going to get our hands dirty. And we're going to put a little bit of the crust at the bottom. Look, you don't have to be perfect about this. You don't. Oh, and this is a stoneware. I love stoneware. I cook with stoneware all the time because it bakes very, very evenly. And I just love it. And I have little parchment cupcake fillers in here. You can do it without them, and I would just spray them, but it's not going to be the same because of the way that these are. You need some kind of a little cup. Okay, you need some kind of little cupcake holder. Okay, so whatever one you want to get. Okay, look how easy these are. Let me tell you, the kids love these. Adults love these. They're so simple to make. A little bit of somebody said that they liked almond flour, right? Somebody said that they use almond flour. I use almond flour all the time. I love almonds, and almond flour is gluten-free, so you're not going to get any of the high glycemic white flour effects. Okay, so just evenly distribute it. You don't have to be neat about it. Remember, lazy. Okay, now we're going to put apples right on top. You have leftover apples, just eat them raw because they are delicious with all of this spice mix on top and the lemon juice and a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of monk fruit. Simple. It's not just that I'm lazy, is that we don't have a ton of time, right? We want to get cooking done. We want to get it on the table and we want to get off to doing other things that we want to do. What are other things that you want to do other than cooking, right? I want to go ride my bike. I want to go walk my dogs. I want to go hiking. I want to go listen to music, read a book. What are things that you want to do when you're not cooking or not doing something else that you don't need to spend a ton of time in the kitchen to have delicious food in the kitchen. I'm going to wash my hands real quick because life is messy and we just need to wash our hands. Okay, there you go. Don't be afraid to get your hands in the mix. Right in the oven it goes. This one was supposed to be 400. I put it at 375. So we're going to put it at 400. Okay, next we are going to get the string bean casserole or green bean casserole. I grew up calling it string beans. Who calls it green beans versus string beans? This is what I forgot to get out of the fridge. I'll be right back. I knew there was something I forgot to get out of the fridge. You know the book, Who Stole My Cheese? I was just about to say, who stole my green beans? Who stole my green beans? Okay, here we go. I'm lazy. I got the bag that are already snipped, but still go through and see if you see anything that needs to get snipped. I come from an Italian family and my dad is always the one that is snipping all of this. Oh, you know, the other thing I neglected. Oh my gosh, I'm going from one class to the other today. I forgot to get my mushrooms. So give me a second. I'm going to get the mushrooms. And you know, this will be a good lesson because a lot of people buy the mushrooms that are already sliced. I do not want you to buy mushrooms that are already sliced. Do not want you to buy them. I want you to buy them whole, okay? And you're going to wash them. Always wash your mushrooms. And people are like, oh, you can just wipe it down with a paper towel. Can you? Can you just wipe them down with a paper towel? Are you going to get all of that dirt off with just a paper towel? I don't think so. So I'm going to do this really quick and just rub them up and throw them in there. There we go. These don't have a ton of dirt on them. Normally I have all of this done ahead of time, but that's all right. Life is messy. Wash your hands or wash your mushrooms, right? That's a new one. Wash your mushrooms. Life is messy. Wash your mushrooms, right? I'm cracking myself up. I love it. Okay, so here we go. We've got all of our mushrooms and I'm just going to chop them up roughly. Nothing crazy. Don't get fancy about it. You don't have to get fancy about it. Just get them chopped, get them in there. You don't also, the reason why I don't use the canned mushroom soup, because most cans are lined with BPA. BPA is a plastic that is known to cause cancer. This is all about Tina's healthy, joyful kitchen. And to be joyful, you need to be healthy, right? And we don't want that plastic, okay? It's a xenoestrogen. Also, it has likely, I don't know, what kind of chemicals does it have in it? Does it have MSG? Does it have rancid oils? Yeah, I haven't bought a can, so I have no clue. I have no clue. I just know that fresh is best. Remember, eat foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow. That is my motto. Eat foods that walk, fly, swim, and or grow, and to have a healthy, vibrant life. So here we go. We've got all of our mushrooms in there. We got our string beans in there. Look how easy this is. I'm going to put generous amount of some sea salt in there. I'm going to put a generous amount of some freshly ground black pepper. Always get your pepper freshly ground. Get yourself a grinder. It makes all the difference in the world when it comes to flavor profile, okay? All the difference in the world. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese right on the top. You can put the Parmesan cheese when you serve it, or you can just bake it and it gets all crispy in there. This is thyme that I picked from my sister's garden and I'm drying it. I'm not going to take the time to pick that right now because I want to make this a little bit more efficient. And I love thyme on my string beans. Who says green beans and who says, why can't you sub mushrooms? What can you sub for mushrooms if you don't like mushrooms but want to make something similar? What other vegetables do you like? What other vegetables do you like? Tell me that. What are string beans? Okay, you like string beans. What else? What else? You see what I'm doing? I'm just pouring the olive oil on top. and this is the way my mom taught me. This is the way I've always done it. My sister, who was also, I thought, taught by my mom, she doesn't. She'll get a separate bowl, mix everything up in a bowl, and then put it into a pan. I don't have time. I don't have time to wash all that stuff. Look, here we go. We're going to cook this this one I'm going to cook in my toaster oven because I don't want to cook savory with my sweet. Okay. And yeah, water chestnuts. Oh, what a great idea. What about radishes? Radishes, when you cook them, are amazing. They don't taste like radishes. I don't know what they taste like. I've substituted radishes for peppers in stews, in stews and such. And my husband's like, those potatoes were kind of different. And I'm like, yep. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. They're kind of different, aren't they? Okay. I have an Emerald Lagasse toaster oven. And it's also an air fryer. It's also a baker. It does everything. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay. So here we go. Now we're going to make our turkey and stuffing meatloaf. You ready? 2 things are already in the oven. Can you believe it? And it's only 20 minutes after. Holy wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. We're doing, and I didn't even wash my mushrooms. I had to wash them with you. You find the radishes are sweeter. Yeah, they're much sweeter when they're cooked. Yeah, that's a great idea. Substitute water chestnuts. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, and they are. They're much sweeter when they are cooked. Who wants to learn how to cut an onion without crying? Who wants to learn how to cut an onion without crying? Who wants to learn? Tell me quickly because I've got to get this in the pan and get this cooking for you. Okay. I got to get this in the pan and cooking. Anybody? Me? You want to learn? Okay. It's so funny. I talk about multitasking, you know, it's brings you less joy, but in the kitchen, there's joy everywhere. And I'm multitasking left and right. I love it. So see this part here? This is the part that is the root that goes into the ground. That's the part they say, cut it out and you just might not cry. I've always worn contacts, at least from the age of 17. And I can't tell you the last time. Well, maybe I can remember when I was wearing my glasses one morning that I was cutting up an onion and I started to cry, but I'm pretty sure the contacts are protecting me from crying. Anyhow, they say that little root piece that I pulled out of here that I was supposed to show you close up is what makes you cry. So they say, and I'm not promising you anything. I'm not promising you, but they say that that is what makes you cry. And that is, if you cut that out, it should help. Okay. I'm not promising. I'm not promising. I'm not promising. I'm doing this quickly because you see, I put olive oil in the pan in a cast iron skillet. And if anyone wants me to talk about cast iron skillets and why they're important, you let me know. Now I'm going to show you how to cut an onion, right? Round things, you make them flat. And now I'm going to score my onion. I'm not going to cut it all the way through because onions tend to slip slide. Now it's not going to slip slide and it's not going to be dangerous. But that last piece that was not scored will be dangerous. Flip it on its side and then chop it up. Okay. Never, ever, 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 never pick up your vegetables with your knife. Always use your hands or a scraper, because it dulls the knife. And who can finish this sentence? A dull knife is who can finish that sentence? A dull knife is oops, you see how that slipped? Turn it sideways. Don't be shy about that. A dull knife is somebody can finish it. Yeah. A dull knife is a dull knife. A dull knife, yeah, is a dangerous knife. Yeah. A dull knife is a dangerous knife. So make sure that you get your knives sharpened. Make sure you get your knives sharpened. Next, I'm going to put some garlic in there. Now, somebody tell me, why is raw garlic better than powdered, better than jarred? Why is raw garlic better than powdered or jarred? Anybody know? Calphalon knife sale. Calphalon has a knife sale? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yeah. Okay. This one actually came from Pampered Chef, I think, or Tupperware. The brand name is Food. Anyhow, it was Tupperware. A long time ago, I got that knife. Love that knife. Okay. So which is better? Does anybody know? No one told me. Why is raw garlic better for you? Actually, I already told you. Raw garlic is better for you than the jarred or the powdered. But the question is, why? Why is raw garlic better for you than the powdered? Anybody know? It's because garlic is antiviral, antimicrobial, antifungal, right? It boosts your immune system. When you put high heat on it, that's when it's jarred or when it's powdered, you'll get the flavor, but you're not going to get the immune boosting properties. You're not going to get the immune boosting properties. Yes, I have been peeling garlic since I was a little girl. And you don't have to have garlic in this recipe. And I really like garlic in this recipe. So the Italian in me is saying, throw some garlic in there, which I don't think I even have it on the recipe card. I don't think I even have it on the recipe card. Let's see. All right, this piece wants to go in there too. This won't. Hold on a second. There we go. Induction burners make me insane. That's all I have to say. They make me insane. Okay, there we go. I'd rather have gas any day. Give me a gas oven any day, which I do. I have behind me. And if you're like, what is she making back there? I am making a cranberry sauce with fresh cranberries, fresh orange juice, and I'm going to put a little bit of maple syrup in there. Of course, I just got garlic all over my maple syrup, but all right, that's all right. All good Italians have wooden spoons. All good Italians have wooden spoons. Okay, here we go. Now, if you're using fresh herbs, you put them in last. If you're using dried herbs, you put them into the oil. You put them in right now, okay? These are, who knows what this is? Who knows what this is? Put it in the chat. Who knows what this is? Yes, this is fresh sage. I had a little plant years ago. I've been here 18 years. It's a huge plant right now. So I got tons of sage. I constantly pick it and dry it. So who wants sage? I got a lot. Come to my house. Come to my house. I got a lot of sage. Next, I'm going to put in harder vegetables like carrots and celery. Carrots and celery. Okay, here we go. As that is heating up, we'll put that in a little bit. Okay, let's do one thing at a time, Tina. One thing at a time. Oh, who notices the different colors of my carrots? They came orange, yellow, and purple. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they pretty? I love these carrots because they're so pretty. And the different colors represent that they have different phytonutrients in it. Okay, round things make them flat. Look, even the inside. Look how pretty. How pretty. All right. I need to chop these carrots and get them in there because my oil is hot. And we're just cooking up our onions, making them translucent. And then we're going to cook up some carrots. Who wants to learn how to hold a knife properly? Who wants to learn how to hold a knife properly? Anybody? Anybody? Put knife in the chat if you want to learn some knife skills. Put knife in the chat if you want to learn a little bit of knife skills. I want to learn a little bit of knife skills. Put knife in the chat. Anybody? Okay, good. So a lot of people hold their knives like so, right? You can recognize that. I want you not to do that ever again. Put one thumb on one side, one finger on the other side, the other finger's around your blade. You see, it can't slip out. If you're here, it can slip out and slice the other fingers. We love these beautiful fingers of yours. Do not slice your fingers, okay? So one side on each, so you're gripping. The other hand is constantly in a gripped position so that you don't slice off your fingers. Round things, make them flat. Round things, make them flat. And if you need leverage, you put your hand on top and you leverage down. Okay, I'm going to make that a little smaller. They say consistency of cut, that everything needs to be the same size. And I call bullocks on that. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I try my best, but I'm lazy. As you see, I don't always measure. I just kind of throw things in and do things al occhio, by eye. Do things by eye. Throw things in as they are ready. I promise you, this little induction oven turned its heat up all by itself. I didn't ask it to. It did it all by itself. There's poltergeist going on in my convection, in my induction oven. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit about knife skills. A couple other things about knife skills is, remember, keep these fingers gripped and keep them out of the way. Don't Get distracted. Don't go on a TV show and start talking to people, looking up and not looking at your fingers as you're chopping. Look at your fingers as you're chopping, okay? Look at your fingers as you're chopping. Wooden cutting boards do not dull the knife. I wash this by hand so that it doesn't clank around in the dishwasher. And I set it on a towel, I dry it, and then I store it in a wooden, I used to store them up in a block that was up high, you slipped it in, but I didn't like that, that dulled the knives. Now I have one that you just set in my counter, okay? All right, that fell on the floor, I'm just gonna throw that over there. Who knows where I'm throwing my vegetable scraps? Does anybody have an idea what I'm doing with my vegetable scraps? Anybody? Anybody know what I'm doing with my vegetable scraps? Anybody? Compost, compost. Yes, I've got a composter and I throw it right in the composter. And if you don't have a compost big bucket in the backyard, I have two. I have the big bucket for, it's a barrel that you spin all the time. I forget to spin it. But I also have a pile on the ground that I just throw it in the pile. I just throw it in the pile. Yeah, give it back to Mother Earth because Mother Earth knows what to do with it. Matter of fact, I was juicing an orange because I juiced an orange for those cranberries. I'm gonna go stir them real quick. You wanna cook them until they pop. They're almost popped. They're almost popped. You know, I'm gonna do this my lazy way. This is easier. Keep it all together. It's washed. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're just gonna stir that all up. Get rid of that. And next, remember I promised you turkey and stuffing meatloaf, right? Turkey and stuffing. You can, I'm gonna go turn a fan on. Give me a second, okay? I highly encourage everyone in the world to go gluten-free. Why? Because gluten can alter your health in ways that you do not want, okay? I can go into the details about that. If you want to learn about why gluten-free is really important, I don't want to tell you if you don't want to learn, but put gluten-free in the chat and I will teach you about that. Most stuffing mixes out there are full of MSG. MSG is an excitotoxin, passes the blood-brain barrier, goes to the brain cells that are most susceptible and excites them until they die. I lost enough brain cells to Lyme disease, so I'm going to encourage you to not lose any more brain cells. And be careful because a lot of those stuffing mixes out there, they don't say MSG on the label, but on the label, it'll say words like spices, natural flavors, autolyzed yeast extract, 78 some words for MSG, okay? And now we're just trying to saute this and get this all translucent. Now, if you're going to use stuffing, get yourself some gluten-free bread, toast it up, throw it in with some herbs and throw it in there, okay? Or you can buy yourself some gluten-free stuffing mix. And I read every single ingredient here, and there's no ambiguous words. I know exactly what's in here. By the way, if it says organic, then you don't have to worry about it. If I was using the stuffing, I would add a half a cup of broth. Be careful with broth. Most broth has MSG hidden in it as well. Somebody had asked me about gluten, and here's your question. When you mix flour with water, what do you get? When you mix flour with water, what do you get? Flour with water. What do you get when you mix flour with water? Today, I decided I'm not going to use the stuffing mix. I'm going to use something else. I'm going to use butternut squash. It was frozen, and I'm going to throw it right in there with my onions. That's going to be my stuffing. I actually make a traditional stuffing every year. Instead of my mom's traditional stuffing, instead of using the breadcrumbs, I use butternut squash. So I've altered her recipe, and I've shared that recipe with hundreds of people, and they all love it. All love it. It's wonderful. Love butternut squash. Okay. So I'm just stirring that up, and I need to get some sage in there. Okay, yeah, you get some paste, right? You mix water with flour and you get paste. And when you eat water and flour, bread, right? White stuff, even if it's whole wheat, it's almost the same, a little better, but almost the same. It goes through your intestines and literally glues up your intestines. Worse than that, it permeates the intestinal wall, literally kind of like cuts a hole in it, and food particles start to leach out into your system. It's called autointoxication or leaky gut syndrome, leaky gut. And now you have literally food leaking into your body, and your body has to work triply hard to detoxify itself. And we don't want that. You know, a little bit here and there is not gonna harm you. It's what you do consistently over time that gives you results, unless you're already celiac. A person who has celiacs cannot touch gluten because they will go reeling. And I've learned these days that a lot of children are celiac, just like a lot of children have peanut allergies. Okay, this is almost done. This is almost ready to go. But I'm gonna get some sage. I'm gonna cut up this sage, little pieces here. I'm gonna put a little salt in there too, because I didn't put salt. Okay. Get this nice and mince it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. So what do we have in here? We have onions, we have garlic, we have celery, we have carrots, we have butternut squash, we have olive oil, and now some fresh sage. I think I'm gonna put a little bit more because this is a lot in here. I can't cook for just one person. I always have to cook for multiple meals. My mom would say, cook once, eat twice. I cook once, eat thrice. I just made that one up, eat thrice. But yeah, this freezes well. This meatloaf freezes well. How do I know? Because I make two all the time and I freeze them. But you know, in the height of cycling season, food does not last long in my house. It does not last long because both my husband and I eat a lot when we cycle a lot. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit of sea salt in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of what? Freshly ground black pepper. Remember, salt alters the flavor, enhances the flavor. It enhances the flavor. That's what I meant to say. Salt enhances the flavor of the food. Pepper alters the flavor. Somebody was saying to me, one of my clients, oh, I'm a new chef and we tend to not spice right or underspice. Like, you know, don't worry about it. Your favorite spices are sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. If you stick with that, don't worry about it. Okay, there we go. Oopsies. Whoopsies, whoopsies, whoopsies. Here we go. This is almost ready. I'm going to let that finish cooking for a few moments. And what I have in here, it's supposed to be turkey, right? Well, I go to the store and all they have is ground chicken. I'm like, well, it's poultry. It'll work. So I've got some ground chicken in here. Making me mad. It keeps making the temperature go up. Ground chicken, and since I'm using the butternut squash versus the stuffing, because this is where you would put the stuffing mix in, a couple of cups of it with a little half a cup of broth. Instead of doing that, I'm using the butternut squash, and I'll use a cup of almond flour just to help bind it together, Okay, I'm going to start with one egg. I might want 2 eggs in here. I don't know. I might want 2 eggs in here. I might not. I'll figure that out in a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit more sea salt in here. I'm going to put a little bit. Remember, you can always add salt, but you cannot take it away. You cannot take it away. Y'all having fun? If you're having fun, put fun in the chat. Could you please use breadcrumbs as well? Could you? Oh, no, darn. I already put it's too much now. I already put the almond flour in there. I don't want to put, but if you put the breadcrumbs in there, just throw them right in and put a half a cup of broth in there. Maybe a quarter cup of broth. Start with a quarter cup and then go to a half a cup. It depends if it needs it or not. Sorry, I already used it. All right, good. I love to cook. Yes, there you go. It's hard for me to see because of all the lights in my kitchen that I have to have. I love to cook, but I'm all about cooking once and eating as many meals as possible. Okay, got it. Now I can see it. Okay, so now what do I have? Salt, pepper, almond flour, an egg. I have ground chicken. This is almost ready. And let's get our, oh, by the way, you could have put the string beans on a flat surface like so. I took that out and I forgot to show it to you. Let's get our loaf pans out. Okay, here are my loaf pans. Okay, I only have one stoneware loaf pan. I need to get another one because I just love stoneware. Okay, we're going to get an olive oil spray. Do not use anything that's not olive oil or avocado oil or grapeseed oil because it has propellants in it. This one doesn't have a propellant in it, and it's not a rancid oil. Most of those other oils are rancid. Okay, be very, very, very careful. So here we are. We're ready here. These pans are ready. I got a lot of stuff in the way here. We are doing so awesome on time because I just got so much ready ahead of time. This is great. Oh, something sounds like it's done. Hold on, let's go check on it. Yes, yes, yes. This is our string beans and mushroom casserole. Here we go. String bean and mushroom casserole. It is complete. You do not need cream of mushroom soup. If you really wanted this to be a little creamier, I would pour a little bit of heavy cream on this before you bake it, if that's what you really want. Just remember that's really heavy. And if you're making this as a Thanksgiving meal, you've got enough heavy dishes with the turkey and the stuffing and the desserts and everything else. So make some lighter meals. Look how beautiful, again, the stoneware, right? Look how beautiful that is. And then feel free to put the Parmesan on before you cook it because Parmesan just caramelizes and gets crispy on all of that. And on the bottom, there's a little bit of liquid from the mushrooms. This is an amazing dish. So there we have it. Our first dish complete. String beans and see, I want to call them string beans, but y'all call it green beans, I'm sure, right? Yeah. Would you sprinkle with Parm cheese? Well, I put the Parmesan cheese before I put it in the oven. So you can serve it with extra Parmesan cheese. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's put that aside for now. And let's get back to our main dish over here. All right. This is almost ready for the oven. Now, the tricky part is cast iron skillets are heavy and their handles are hot. So you got to be careful. And this is when, if you have help, you get someone to help you in your kitchen. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, does anybody want to know why I love cast iron skillets? Does anybody want to know why I love cast iron skillets? Anybody? Let's put cast iron in the chat. Yeah, because you get your iron from it, number one. Number two, it just crisps up the food beautifully. And you get the iron from it when you use something that's acidic, like tomatoes or lemon juice or vinegar. You'll get acidic foods bring out the iron in it. Okay, so you're going to get your iron. Many people are iron deficient, especially women. Men, not as much. Women, yes. Okay, so look how easy this is. We've got our stuffing mixed right in with our ground meat. Oh, you know what? I never put a timer on the apple cups, did we, Caitlin? I don't think I ever put a timer on the apple cups. Let's take a look. Oh, they look done. They were supposed to be 20 minutes. And yep, they're done. I'll show these to you. Next dish, complete. Our apple pie cups. Let them cool. Let them cool. Take them out carefully and then put them on in a container, and they'll stay great in the refrigerator for 5 to 7 days. because there's no meat in here. Meat would be 5 days, but vegetables 5 to 7 days. These are wonderful, our apple pie cups. I'm gonna set these down and let them cool off for a little bit. And I'm gonna lower the temperature to 375, which is what we need for our turkey. Now, the only issue here is that our turkey and stuffing meatloaf is not going to be complete by the time our class is over. And that's okay. That's okay. You get the idea. You know what meatloaf looks like, right? Here we go. Get this right in there. Just divide this up. You can do this with any kind of ground meat that you like. It doesn't have to be turkey. It doesn't have to be chicken. It could be beef. It could be a mixture of beef, pork, and whatever, like my mom likes to make. I think she does beef, pork, and lamb, I think is her mixture that she likes. That she gets. What mixture would you use? Yeah, what mixture would you use? So we're just going to put that right in, divide it in our bowls. Good, let me put this down. And find a place to put it. Yes.
Tina, would you ever use oatmeal in your apple pie cups?
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Oatmeal would be great. Here's the thing with oatmeal, though. I love oatmeal. I think oatmeal is just phenomenal. I'll eat oatmeal if I'm going to go on a long bike ride and I need the extra fuel. But if I'm just hanging around and want a little snacky snack and I'm really not exercising and burn off all of the extra sugar that I get from the oatmeal, then I won't. I'll use the almond flour most of the time. But I love oatmeal. Don't get me wrong. If I'm going for a bike ride or a big hike, I'm eating oatmeal. I'm eating oatmeal. I love the stuff. I love the stuff. It's wonderful. But yeah, that would be great. You can do oatmeal flour versus the almond flour if you want the extra energy. And that's what it comes down to. It's extra energy, right? Extra energy. Now, what you want to do is cook this for about 20 minutes and then pull it out of the oven and then put your topping on. I know my mom would always just put ketchup on the top, right? I'm not going to cook it first because it's not going to come out of the oven in time anyway. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the topping on now. Why? Because I'm lazy and I don't have time to wait around, wait 20 minutes, take it out, put the topping in, put it back in. Not doing it. Are you doing it? I'm not doing it, but this is the way we're going to make it. You can get yourself some jellied cranberry sauce in the can. I was at the store last night because I couldn't find string beans. I couldn't find fresh cranberries. Thank goodness I found a batch of cranberries in my freezer. But the jellied cranberries from those other name brand companies had high fructose corn syrup in it. High fructose corn syrup, it will elevate your blood sugar levels, number one, and cause that insulin response. Remember, I told you earlier, it scars your arteries, causes narrowing of the arteries, atherosclerosis, and then it can cause high blood pressure, right into stroke, right into heart attack, right? We don't need any of those things. So, and also, I'm like, really? Why would they put high fructose corn syrup with cranberry? I don't know. This one is jellied cranberry sauce. It's organic. And the ingredients are organic cranberries, a little bit of sugar. I'm okay with a little bit of sugar sometimes. And some organic lemon juice concentrate. No MSG, no high fructose corn syrup. And I could easily have just opened up this can and used that. But I wanted to show you how easy it was to just throw frozen cranberries in your pot, throw freshly squeezed oranges in there, a little bit of what I put, like a 1/4 cup of maple syrup in there, and that's it. Now, I'm going to put some ketchup in there. Yep. I'm going to put the ketchup right on there. And I'm going to put some Dijon mustard. You can do yellow mustard if you want. I'm going to use Dijon mustard. There we go. Got mustard on me. We're going to mix all that up. You don't have to do this if you don't want. You can just put the cranberries right on top. You can just put ketchup right on top. But you're going to make this little mixture. I think it's mouth-watering. Amazing, delicious. Put that right on top. And trust me, I baked it like this without having to bake it 20 minutes, take it out for 30 minutes, take it out in 20 and then put the topping on. I don't have time for that. Who has time for that? If you have time for that, put time in the chat. If you don't, like me, then don't. Just do it like this. Although I did do the directions the other way for people who want to do things the right way. It's okay. These little silicone spatulas are my favorite. My absolute favorite. I love them. I love them, but not any more than my wooden spoons. All good Italians have wooden spoons. Okay. Here we go. Now, this is going to cook for 30 minutes. Now, because I'm putting 2 in the oven at the same time, it's probably going to take maybe 35 minutes. You're like, Tina, how are you going to know when it's done? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 35? How much is it? Get an instant read thermometer. Get yourself an instant read thermometer like so. And at 30 minutes, you press this in. Don't let it touch the pan though. Don't let it touch the hot pan. And it should be 165 degrees. If it's not, you close the oven, you put it right back in and let it cook for another 5-10 minutes, depending on what temperature it is at. Let me put these in the oven. Okay, Google, 30-minute timer. Yeah, so I'll check it in 30 minutes and see if it needs a little bit more time. The oven is at 375. And there we have it, our stuffing and turkey, or turkey and stuffing meatloaf. Unfortunately, I don't have one already made for you, but that's all the time that we have. Now, let me show you, let me plate, now that the apple pie is cooled off, let me put it in a plate for you so you can actually see it, okay? Give me a second. Let's find a nice plate to put it on. Oh, I know what to put it on. Here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay. Let's take 2 of them out because they're pretty. Here we go. Our apple pie cups. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, these are so delicious. I cannot wait to have those for dessert with our meal. Did you notice that I didn't use the other egg? It was wet enough. I didn't need the other egg. You know, sometimes you might, depends, all depends. You just have to like feel these things out. As I say, I do things al occhio, al occhio. So there we have it. We have, oh, this is still hot. We have our mushroom and green bean casserole, or as somebody else here would like to do, what do we say? Water chestnuts or maybe radishes with your green beans. It just has olive oil, a little bit of Parmesan cheese on there, salt and pepper. Wonderful. Our apple pie cups, and in the oven is our turkey and stuffing meatloaf. All right, that's all we have for today. Now, would you ever use, oh yeah, there you go. We already answered that question. Now, for our last few minutes together, I would like to know, A, do you have any questions? Do you have any other questions for me? I love questions. The more, the merrier. The more, the merrier, right? Also, think about this. What have you found most valuable about our time together today? What is that 1 or 2 things that you learned from today that you're like, yes, I'm going to try to implement that? Or, oh, I didn't know about the flour and the paste and what that does to your body. Or maybe you want to learn a little bit more about that. Yeah, the gluten is like glue. The gluten is like glue. And by the way, when you eat gluten, remember I said it leaches food right into your system. It affects your brain. I know that because I had Lyme disease and my brain was affected. So when I do eat gluten, I know that it's hard for me to tell you what that thing I park my car on in the front of my house. It's a driveway, right? Some days I can't find words. And I know, oh boy, did I have MSG? Did I have gluten? Something like that. Yeah. So you loved all the nutrition and the knife tips and tricks. Oh, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is that Joanna? I have a hard time to see with it. You love the saying, only eat what you want. Yes. Oh, you caught that early on, didn't you? Good. Yeah. Eat foods as close to the way that Mother Nature provided them for us. Eat foods that walk, fly, swim, and or grow. Yeah. Yeah. Mostly emphasis on the grow, emphasis on the grow. Love the idea of mixing the ingredients right in the casserole dish. Oh my gosh, my mom taught me that as a young girl. So much easier. I read all these recipes, mix it in a bowl and then pour it in, put it into your baking pan. Why? Right there, so much easier. Let's be lazy about stuff and be quick. Cooking but hate doing the dishes. Yeah, that's when you have to recruit the other people that you live with that eat your food to do the cleanup. Yeah, they have to do the cleanup. Or what's your name again? Is Joanna, right? Yeah. Embrace the cleanup. Embrace it. Just embrace it and do it and stop hating it. Remember, life is for joy. We're here for joy on this earth. And if it doesn't bring you joy, then figure out how to make it joyful, right? Sing a song, you know. I don't know. For me, I like when things start, when I have to clean everything up here, when I start to see things being cleaned up and put away, I'm like, oh, now I got to do the dishes, and I make a game out of it. Where I listen to some of my favorite music, and I'm like, oh, I get to spend more time in my joyful kitchen. So make a game of it, okay? You'll try. My Gramp used to love Satu, so I try to think of him. Oh, good for you. Yeah. And what are some of his favorite songs that he would sing? Play those. I have a Google Home in my kitchen, so my Google Home helps me out here with playing music while my hands are busy cooking or washing dishes or clean up. Embrace the cleanup. Yeah, definitely embrace the cleanup. Caitlin, she's going to put in the chat box. She's going to put in the chat box my cooking show link. And she's going to put in 2 links, okay? One link is to my cooking show on YouTube, so you can see me anytime you want. It's not going to be live. It won't be as entertaining as if you had me one-on-one, but it is still entertaining. So it's tinamcdermott.com/cooking show. You'll see that. And the other thing that she put in there is my Joyful Gut ebook. Make sure that link works. Caitlin, please, just the last time that link broke, because links break sometime. Did you know that? The Joyful Gut is a reboot guide, is a book that I wrote for you that's all about how you can live a life that's healthy, vibrant, and free by following some basic nutritional protocols that will just help increase your life and help make your life wonderful. Yeah, we're good with the links. Yes, very, very, very good. So yes, join me on my YouTube show and maybe join me again on another cooking show. I want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for just all your participation, all of your questions. It means that you were really, really, really engaged, and I so appreciate that, and I love that when people engage with me. So thank you from the top to the bottom, to my middle, to that whole heart, and namaste. And until next time, bye for now, everyone. Have a very good day. Have a very good day.